Would you support the privatization of any departments, and if so, which ones? 30 seconds.
Well, that's, I don't think that's really easily answered in 30 seconds, so nice try, Chuck, but, you know, that's a very complex issue, and that's a very, would be a very hotly contested issue, I'm sure, especially when you get into, you know, unions and non-union issues and things like that. What I would support is doing a full review of something like that, and again, like anything, doing what makes sense after a full discussion and a full review of all the different departments and what we can and cannot do.
Actually, many people don't understand that we actually do a number of privatization in different departments across the city of Elgin already. If we look at how we mow lawns, how we plow snow in cul-de-sacs, how we do some of our code inspection. The next thing that will come before the city council will be actually another proposal to expand some of our code inspection privatization. That would be something that I would be open to looking into and looking at the cost versus the benefit. So we're already doing it, just be looking for opportunities to expand it.
The only one I can think of is the legal department. I think can be privatized. It would save the city money. I think we've been through a lot of arbitrations and a lot of lawsuits lately. I think that that's definitely a possibility in my mind.
I'm willing to look at it, but I want to note that we already do a lot of privatization. The cul-de-sac plowing, parking lot snow removal, our vacant buildings ordinance that was passed a few years ago is done by a private contractor. As Toby mentioned, we are looking at even expanding that to include our rental licensing program. If we do that, that will allow us to put more code enforcement officers out on the streets, which I think is definitely needed. And then we also have a great example with our economic development partnership with the Elgin Economic Development Group.
If there was one department that I think could be outsourced, and as Tish alluded, it has already partially been done, as code enforcement. It's been chronically understaffed for many years, and I think that if we can outsource it even further beyond the abandoned homes inventory, that would be a good direction to go. Thank you.
There are a few departments. First of all, the leaf collection. Part of the leaf collection, I believe, is done by a private company, but the other part, when the leaves are pushed to the curb, I don't know whether it's done by the city or by the private company. If it is done by the city, I would recommend that that should also be privatized. The basic question is, do we need to have anybody pushing the leaf to the curb? That's the second question. But coming back to the other department, code inspection is one, of course, and the bid collection.
This is a conceptual one as well, because things change. Economy changes, things change, so there's no untouchable items. You should constantly be reviewing to seeing if outsourcing something gives you high quality services for cost effectiveness. If people talk about the chamber and economic development, if that's working and it's cost effective, then you continue it. You assess the program. If it's not working, then you reassess it and change. So it's something you should always be doing in every department. There is not a sacred, untouchable item.
Well, to follow up on Julie's comments, first of all, the two incumbents along with me that got to it first named all the examples that we have privatized, so I don't want to repeat those, but I want to touch on Julie's comment. It's standard operating procedure, I know this from talking with Sean. Anytime we're looking at new things that we have to take on, like the problems with the vacant homes, we always consider privatization. We go with it when it's cheaper. But let me give you an example of the reverse case, because you have to do it both ways, where we actually brought it back in-house and saved money, and that was the water meter replacement in the water department. Kyla found it was cheaper to do it in-house, filling in employees' work time on a part-time basis as they could do it, and it was cheaper and it saved us money.
When I was a mechanical engineer, I learned early on, sometimes it's best to have your own team handle stuff, sometimes it's best to hand it out and see if other people can handle it. Sometimes you need a consistent face who knows the unique problems of an area. With our code department, we found that to be somewhat the case, at least in my neighborhood of Swan, that there are certain issues we want a consistent person handling. But right now, we need to look at every single issue and decide from there, is this more cost effective? Will we get a good job? And Parks and Rec is one that comes to mind.